The Silent Curse. A quiet morning in the apartment. The city outside is bustling, but inside the apartment everything feels heavy. Ducky is in the kitchen preparing coffee. Her face reflects a mix of skepticism and unease. She's trying to convince herself that the strange events from the other day were just her imagination. The line between belief and doubt is thin, especially when something unseen is watching. Ducky had tried to convince herself that what happened the night before was just a trick of the mind, but deep down, she felt something lurking, something ancient. Ducky shakes her head, trying to push the thought away as she pours herself a cup of coffee. Meanwhile, Ansu is in the living room, helping Arua with her daily routine. Arua, now even more withdrawn than usual, is sitting on the floor playing with a broken toy. Her tantrums have grown worse and she doesn't speak anymore. Scene 1. A mother's struggle. Ansu watches her daughter with concern, gently brushing a lock of hair from Arua's forehead. Her eyes are tired, weighed down by more than just the responsibilities of daily life. She's exhausted from school, from the haunting memories of her marriage, and the growing sense of dread she can't shake off. Ansu, whispering to herself, "I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this." Ducky walks in, a cup of coffee in hand. She watches Ansu for a moment before speaking, trying to sound casual but unable to hide the worry in her voice. Ducky. "Hey, how's Arua?" She's still not talking. Ansu looks at Ducky, her face grim. Ansu. No. Nothing. She barely eats, barely sleeps. I don't know what's happening to her. There's a long silence between them. Ducky wants to comfort her, but she doesn't know how. Instead, she focuses on the stone that has been lying on the table, the one the mysterious old man gave them. It's smooth, almost soothing in its simplicity, but it holds an energy that doesn't sit right. Ducky, hesitant. "So, what's the deal with that stone? You think it's helping?" Answer. "I don't know. But there's something about it. Every time I hold it, I feel a little more at peace, like something's watching over us. I'm not sure if it's good or bad, but for now, it's the only thing that helps." Ducky nods, but doesn't seem entirely convinced. Scene 2. Nenda's visit. Later that afternoon, Ansu's mother, Nenda, arrives at the apartment. She's a retired nurse who specializes in handling mentally challenged patients. Despite her calm demeanor, there's something sharp and knowing in her eyes, as if she can see through the walls of fear that Ansu has built around her. Nenda enters the living room, her eyes scanning the room as she sits down beside Ansu. She glances at Arua, who's still sitting quietly on the floor, her back turned. Nenda, gently. "You know, dear, it's more than just anxiety. I've been a nurse long enough to see when something is beyond the ordinary. You're not imagining things." Ansu tenses up. She's always been close to her mother, but there's a part of her that still doesn't want to acknowledge the truth. Ansu, softly. "What do you mean, Mom?" Nenda. "I mean that Arua isn't just suffering from something physical. Something's affecting her. And it's not just the stress of your divorce. You're carrying something with you, something old." Ansu's heart skips a beat. She doesn't want to admit it, but she's been feeling the weight of that something ever since she left the village. Scene 3. Kilam's demands. The next day, Ansu receives a call from Kilam, her ex-husband. His voice on the other end is cold and demanding, as usual. Kilam, on the phone, harshly. "I want Arua with me tomorrow. She's supposed to be with me on visitation day, not hiding in that apartment of yours." Ansu, frustrated but calm. You know the agreement. You're supposed to visit her. She's not going anywhere with you until you can prove you're fit to have her around. There's a long pause. Kilam's voice is suddenly darker, more menacing. Kilam, low voice. Don't think you can hide her from me forever. She's mine too, Answer. You'll regret it. Answer hangs up, her hands shaking. Ducky, who overheard the conversation, looks at her with concern. Ducky. That guy's a real piece of work. You're not really going to let him see Arua, are you? Answer. I don't have a choice. If I don't, he'll make our life hell. Again. Scene 4. Mina's shadows. Meanwhile, Mina, Ansu's ex-mother-in-law, is in her own home. She's seated before a small altar, lighting incense as she mutters prayers in a language that doesn't sound human. Her face flickers with a strange intensity, turns to the shadows beside her. Mina, in a whisper. The time is near. They will bring her to me. She will fulfill her purpose. The shadows move in response, Mina's face revealing an eerie smile. Scene 5. The mysterious old man's visit. That evening, as Ansu struggles with her thoughts, there's a knock on the door. Ducky opens it to reveal the mysterious old man who had given them the stone. He's smiling gently, but there's something unsettling in his eyes. He holds a small bundle wrapped in cloth. Old man softly. I know the path ahead is hard, but you must prepare, child. The stone is but a small part of what's to come. You'll need this. He hands Ducky the bundle, and she unwraps it to reveal a small, intricately carved wooden figurine. The figurine depicts a woman with her arms outstretched, surrounded by symbols that seem familiar, yet ancient. Ducky, bewildered. What is this? Old man, grimly. It is a key. It may help you unlock what has been sealed, but be careful. Not all keys open the door you want. With a final nod, the old man leaves without another word, vanishing into the night. Scene 6. The gathering storm. The next morning, Ansu prepares herself for Kilam's visitation. Her heart is heavy, her mind clouded by a deep sense of dread. Ducky watches her, unsure of how to help, but knowing that something dark is coming. Meanwhile, in the distance, Mina is seen preparing a ritual in her shadowy home, murmuring incantations on the same wooden figurine sitting on her altar. The storm is not just one of weather. It is a storm of forces unseen, of curses and bloodlines entwined. Ansu has walked far from her village, but the darkness she thought she left behind is still following her, ever closer. Ansu's eyes wide with a mix of fear and determination. The figurine, now in her hands, feels warmer as the storm outside intensifies. But some doors are not meant to be opened. To be continued.